Hey everyone, welcome back with me, Valerie Williams of Dimensional Talent Streams, redirecting you in being fruitful and multiplying. This week, guys, I want to talk about social intelligence. Yes, you heard me correctly, social intelligence. So many times we have heard about AI, artificial intelligence, and there's different aspects to that artificial intelligence. However, I want to focus this week on social intelligence. And with that being said, no formal guest that I have on this week for you guys. It's going to be me coming and talking. And just a couple of housekeeping things before I get into my topic this week of social intelligence is to remind you guys to like and subscribe, comment to my YouTube channel, Dimensional Talent Streams, that you will see above here. You'll see my logo if you are watching, if you are listening. Again, like, comment, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Dimensional Talent Streams, as well as following me on social media, Instagram also as well, guys. Another housekeeping thing is Dimensional Talent Streams is going to be having its virtual conference coming up next month, April 22nd to the 24th. The theme of the virtual conference is the and Business Health and Fitness Expo. Sorry, guys, I got a lot of on my mind. I had a little technical difficulty with something, and so I'm in my feelings with frustration about that. So forgive me. But other housekeeping tip is the virtual conference that I want you guys to register for. Again, it is the Business Health and Fitness Expo coming next month, April 22nd to the 24th. Registration is now open and has been open since Valentine's Day, April the 14th. We are in the early registration phase of it, where I will be closing early registration on March the 31st. There is a cost, guys. It's only $55. And that is for 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's going to be a whole weekend. I'm really excited about this. It's something that I have been carrying in my spirit for the last year, and now I'm going to be rolling it out. So I would like for you guys to attend. It is not only for business owners. If you're an entrepreneur, MLMer, you've got a side hustle, or you've been thinking about getting your side hustle or having your business, I want you to come and join. If you don't even have a business, I still want you to come and be a part of this virtual conference, because the tips that we're going to be sharing, it is for business, but you can use it in life as well. I have a speaker who's going to be coming along with me, Amy Aarons of Holistic Wellness. She is a wellness coach as well as consultant. She is going to be joining, and she is going to be one of my main speakers. It'll be myself as well. I kind of wanted to keep this kind of small, so it's just going to be myself and my cohort, Amy Aarons of Holistic Wellness. And it is going to be so good, guys. It's just not going to be me and my other speakers speaking. We're going to have some one-on-ones with people. We're going to have a soaking room for those who just need to get away, just need to hear their thoughts. We're going to have a soaking room. You need to get away from the kids, whatever the case may be. We're going to have a soaking room. We're going to have a little open forum. And I'm going to mix up the format a little bit. So it won't just be myself and my speaker just kind of speaking at you. We're going to also, me move my camera down. I'm getting a glare. We're going to also be kind of bringing the information to you in some different formats to mix it up on this conference, on this online conference. The first 20 to 25 people that do early registration from now until the 31st of March, I am going to be giving each and every one of you a prize for doing a call to action and registering early. And these prizes I'm giving away, guys, I'm talking hotel stays, I'm talking about vacation stays, electronics. So, and again, the cost is $55. I mean, that's good for one day, and I'm doing it for 3 days, guys. And so I'm really pumping out a lot of content and mixing up the format with this virtual expo. So come and be a part, see what Dimensional Talent Streams is doing, get to know me a little bit more in a different slant and in a different venue from here as well, and come and register and join. You can register now by going to at Dimensional Talent Streams. If you're watching, my logo's up there, dimensionaltalentstreams.com. That's my email directly to register. So it is going to be April the 22nd to the 24th. Come and be a part. I'm so excited. This is a chance for you to hear from some like minds, get some fresh strategies in a very different venue as well, because I'm kind of doing it in a very different kind of a way that I really haven't seen with how stuff has been rolled out. I've seen it rolled out, but I haven't seen the way I'm bringing it done in a virtual way. I've seen it done live, but not in a virtual way. So guys, come and be a part. Like I said, for the first 20, 25 people that register between now and the 31st of March, I'm giving away some good stuff: hotel stays, vacation getaways, electronics, dinner tickets, movie tickets. So come on, guys, and get on in. $55, good way to invest in yourself or somebody that you know who loves business, wants to get in business, even if they're not in business, but want to get some life principles as well. Come and be a part, guys. All right. So enough with the housekeeping. I'm going to jump into my topic today, which is the social intelligence. And specifically with social intelligence, the root of it is communication. However, I want to talk about the social intelligence from the standpoint of collaborations and partnerships, but the root of it for all of that to work well is communication. So that's what what I'm referring to when I say social intelligence. And so if you have not followed me before and you're new to my podcast, you're new to my YouTube channel, welcome. I'm Valerie Williams of Dimensional Talent Streams. This platform is for everybody of all walks of life, but really I try to gear towards business owners, entrepreneurs, MLMers, those that got their side hustle going on or looking to get into business and looking for a business opportunity. I try to talk about, as well as bring people on that have their businesses and can share from their journey, so that to mix it up and give you guys some real live practical things that you can implement in your business, in your hustle, as well as give you inspiration, motivation, empowerment, give you some encouragement, give you some laughs, give you some things to really think about and ponder, and to kind of challenge yourself to go deeper and higher into other levels, personally and within your business. And so, like I said, for those of you who are new, that gives you a little background about the platform, what the platform is, about me. I'm a business owner as well. I also have a healthcare background, and I marry my healthcare background with business as well to bring healing and restoration and deliverance to business owners and entrepreneurs and those looking for a business opportunity. I am a business consultant as well as a financial educator as well. And so my business is Dimensional Talent Streams. That is a business platform, a business solutions platform where I offer digital products to business owners so that they can improve the day-to-day functions of their business. And so my products are geared around that for business owners. I do also have some additional services as my business has expanded into getting, doing some financial education as well on year-round tax planning for business owners, and not waiting to the last minute to get your books in order and knowing whether you're going to owe, or if you're getting a refund back, how much. So I do a lot of education on that, financial education on that, and basically how to live your life like a business so that you can maximize the 475 deductions that you are entitled to as a business owner. And so that is what I bring to the table as well. And I'm stepping out into a little bit of PR, public promotions, and stepping out. So that is a new service that I have added to the business platform. So we are expanding. I do have some additional financial services as well, in addition to the educational piece of the tax planning for business owners and just living your life like a business, and how to maximize on all the deductions and what you should be doing, on a regular basis to make sure by the time tax time comes, you got all your I's dotted and T's crossed. So that is a little bit about me for those who are new to my platform, those who are new to hearing and listening to me, and for those that just kind of need a recap on, okay, Val, what do you do again? That is it in a nutshell. And so I like to do podcasts and have guests on to use my platform to give other business owners a platform as well to talk about what they love and what they do and give us the skinny, the inside tips and tricks that they do that's working well for their businesses and give them some real estate to also advertise and promote themselves as well. And I do that, pro bono. I do that because that's my way to sow seed into business owners, because one day I hope that somebody would do the same for me and give me a platform to, even if it's for a couple of, a day, a couple of hours. I hope that, so I'm sowing into the business industry as well as what I desire that I would like for somebody to do for me one day or at some point in time. And because I want to give back also even to the businesses in my community. I talk with business owners all over the nation, but also I am really keeping my eyes open and wanting to help in my own backyard as well. So that is a little bit about me, what I do, why I do what I do. And that is it. So enough of the housekeeping. I'm going to jump right on in now with our topic, and I'm really kind of excited about it. I have shared with those who have been following me that I have some mentors in the business industry. I have about 5 of them. They come from, let's see, the financial space as well as the business entrepreneurial space. And all 5 of them actually come from that space. And so, I really feel like I have a good support system, uh, as well as continue to keep myself educated in the industry, relevant in the industry as well. So, I am coming with this topic because one of my mentors, we had a meeting, and this was her topic, social intelligence, and it really resonated with me. And I've had a year and still having a year with this particular topic. And so I figured, you know what, I'm going to springboard off of that and bring this to my listeners as well as my viewers. So again, if you're just joining, listening and watching, I'm going to be talking about social intelligence today. No special guests. You got me, guys. You got me. You got me. So I'm going to be talking about social intelligence from the standpoint of collaborations, developing into partnerships, but at the root of it, guys, is communication. And so I want to kind of start out the gate. If you followed me or been watching some of my videos on YouTube, you know that I have shared about my mentors. I have shared about some of my years in business, like 2021, and how my experience was, some of the highlights of that, and how that is reigning true to this day. And so one of those things with 2021 was it was a year of collaborations. It was a year of collaborations. And I want to say, I'm going to say keep it simple and say 2021 business wise was a year of collaborations for me. And what do I mean by that? I'm getting ready to tell you guys, hang tight, hang tight. What do I mean by that is I kind of want to peel back the layers and kind of show you guys a little bit of the journey, the process, and give you some steps that will lead into collaborations. Now, I know some people may have their interpretation, their experiences and whatnot, but I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about I'm staying in my lane, and everything that I share with you guys is from my experiences, which is the best way, because then you've been through it and you've been tried, you've been through it, you've been tried and you've been tested, and you're coming out on the other side, or you in the midst of coming out on the other side. So, when I come with my content, guys, I'm not looking at what this one did and what that one did. I'm coming to you from my personal experience and what I've done, what I've had been privy to, and so forth, and what I've been connected with. So with the collaborations, guys, just to kind of back it up and kind of back the bus up a little bit. So the collaborations, I just want you guys to understand how important collaborations are and to revisit collaborations. If you haven't done any, think about collaborations. If you have done collaborations, um, what could you what did you learn out of it? Revisit what you learned out of it, things that you did right, things that you didn't do right. Reassess if you still have some, reassess them. You know, how can you grow that collaboration to the next level? Because there are different stages and phases of these collaborations, almost like you're climbing up steps. You know, so there's different levels of collaborations, and I'll get more into detail about what that is, what that looks like, so you have like an example. So with the collaborations, I had mentioned that my 2021 was a year of collaborations, and it still is now that we are in 2022. And I did not plan on the collaborations. I just kind of felt, you know, every year I kind of sense like I get like a key, like a highlight, like a key thing that's going to be highlighted for my year, normally the beginning of the year. And I don't really search or look for it, but there's something that is dropped down into my spirit that says, okay, this year is going to be realignment. Is going to be realignments for you. Like 2022, actually, no, 2020 was a year of realignment, coming into getting rid of some old ones, coming into some fresh new alignments. And not that the old ones were bad, but sometimes people are in your life for a season. They're not there for the longevity, you know, based upon what your call is, and you know, and what your vocation is. And so 2020 was a year of, for me, realignment. And that's just a kind of, and I had that sense that, okay, there's going to be some shaking, there's going to be some shifting and da 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 da, shifting of some things. And it really was with alignments. And then 2021 was a year of collaboration. And again, guys, I didn't go seeking this out, didn't plan it, but it was something that was a highlight to me in the beginning of the year to say, okay, just be aware as you're talking to people and da 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 da. And with that being said, when we're dealing with collaborations, um, you're starting off. For me, I was starting off with number one, conversation. You know, when we're talking about the root of, you know, social intelligence with collaborating and these partnerships, the root of it all is communication. But in order to have communication, you got to have somebody to talk to. You got to have somebody to talk to. So there's a couple of platforms that I'm on, and one in particular platform that I am a part of, I use to kind of, you know, promote my events, my products, and my services. But I also am using it to meet other business owners because it's a platform of mainly business owners and entrepreneurs. And so it's really a way for me to, you know, not only get my product and services out there and share my branding and what I do, but it's a place for me to meet and greet people, other business professionals. And so with the specific platform that I have in mind, I, you know, have conversations with people, dialogue. So the first thing is conversation and dialogue. And we know that communication has to be involved in that. But having conversation. And when I'm having these conversations, guys, I don't have in the back of my mind out the gate collaboration, and partnership. That's not my heart. When I'm coming and I'm talking and getting to know people, it genuinely is talking, getting to know, opening up the conversation, that getting to know, the first stage of conversation, that getting to know, that meet and greet, that discovery call, if you want to call it, but that meet and greet and getting to know them. And getting to know what the, you know, how they got in business, why the niche that they're in, how they got into it, why that particular niche or business, how long they've been in business, you know, some of the tips and tricks that are working for them in business, and getting a feel and a vibe for that person. Because as you're having that conversation, you are developing your gut, which is your instinct, which is your discernment as well. and you're just, listening to what your gut is saying as you're in conversation. So it's almost, it's almost like you're having two-way conversation, because internally you are, tapping into what you're sensing and you're feeling and your gut reaction and your discernment. We always hear the phrase, I got to trust my gut. I got to go with my gut. I got to go with my gut, or you know what I mean? And so that is, a big factor into it. And I do have a video that I've got, but I didn't post it yet. And where I talk about developing your gut. And I also have another video where I talk about the three optimizations in business. And so if you're not liking, commenting, and subscribing to my YouTube channel, guys, I'm not saying I'm the best and the greatest, but if you're listening today and it's your first time, you know, check me out. I encourage you to check me out. I encourage you to do research on me. I encourage you to go and look, just not listen to this video, or audio, but go and find me on social media. Go and look at my website. Go and listen to some of my other videos, because a lot of my videos will overlap. And in them, you get to know me. And in them, you get to know me, what I stand for, my values, and what I believe. And you get to follow and see, what Dimensional Talent Streams is doing. So with that being said, guys, when I mention, because sometimes I'll come on here and talk about and teach and share on a particular topic, and then it parallels with another video that I've already did. And so that's why I'm mentioning, guys, if you're not subscribing, you need to subscribe, because, we're talking dimensions, levels, realms, because one topic that I'm sharing will lead into a video that I already did. So I'm talking about social intelligence today, for those who are just joining me, hearing, watching, listening. And one of the videos that I have that is a parallel, as I'm talking about intuition and following your gut and discernment, I have a video out called The 3 Optimizations in Business. So you've got to watch that so you can really get a full idea of what I'm talking about with the gut, because it's more than what we think, guys. It's more than the intuition. It's more than that sense and that feeling and that discernment. So check out that video if you haven't, and watch that video. And I do have another video that I'm coming out with where I talk about how to develop that gut, because it's not just only in business, although this is a business platform. But the good thing is, even though this is a business platform, you can take all of this and apply it to your life as well. So with that being said, conversation, opening up that initial conversation and getting to know the other individual. And when you're getting to know that individual, and guys, I'm not trying to be condescending. I know you guys know how to have conversation, but I'm talking about developing it to get collaborations and to get partnerships, guys, because that is another stream of income. Again, guys, Dimensional Talent Streams, this is a part of what I do, is show people how to break open multiple income streams, guys. Okay. And so that's another reason why you got to follow this platform and see, well, what are some of those? Because with everything going on today now, and I don't want to get in political and all that, but you guys know what has been in the headlines for the last couple of weeks. And you guys know what's going on with the inflation and everything that is going on. And that is another reason why we need to have more than one stream of income. Okay, so getting back, so the collaborations is one way to break open an additional stream of income. It can break open a couple of different income streams through collaborations and partnerships. So it is very important. So I'm not trying to be condescending and teach you how to have conversation. I just want to show you the value of the collaborations and how they develop, and give you guys some practicality with some good positive examples, as well as some not positive examples of when you get to that collaboration and partnership table. Okay, so with that being said, And so don't comment me and say, Val, we know how to have a conversation. That's not what this video is about. It's about social intelligence, the importance of collaboration and partnerships. Okay. But sometimes we do need to revisit, because sometimes we do need a tune-up. Sometimes, guys, we need to go back to the beginning of something and see, okay, what did we miss, or what can we perfect? I have a video on that, returning to our foundation. So let's not feel like, okay, we know everything and we're an expert at every little thing, because I know I'm not. Okay. And I don't mind being real with you guys. So with that being said, with the collaborations, that initial conversation and developing the conversation and taking it to a point where we're having meaningful conversation and we can get beyond the surface. So you're opening up that door and you're doing those icebreakers, and then you're the getting to know you stage, and then you're developing at a third level where you're having the meaningful conversation. You're asking deeper questions, and with that is your whole motive of how you're going into the conversation to see if it can be a collaboration and a partnership. What is your motive? What are you trying to get out of the conversation? What are you looking for when you go in? What are some of those things that you look for? And so, I'll give you an example. With me, I said 2021 was a year of collaboration. So I do have some collaborations right now. And how I got to them was on one of my business platforms, getting to know people, having conversation, generating meaningful conversation. And then I took it a step further, because within that, my gut, my instinct, my discernment was developing with that individual. And then I get to hear what their values are, and if they resonate with me, if their values are a part of my DNA. I'm looking for commonalities. I'm looking for synergy. Are we bouncing off one another? Is there an ease with conversation? Am I feeling the respect from you as well? Am I feeling, is there respect both ways? Is there valuing one another both ways? So I'm looking for those things. I'm looking for integrity. I'm looking for, are they honest? If I ask a question that might be a personal question, but because I've done the work where we are at that stage of our conversation where we're at that meaningful conversation part, I can ask certain questions that I wouldn't ask up front in the early part of the conversation or developing that conversation relationship. And I'm looking to see, okay, how honest can they be? How honest can they be honest if I ask them this particular question? And so those are some of the things I look for when I'm talking to somebody. And like I said, guys, I'm not looking for every collaboration every time I talk to somebody. I'm genuinely looking to get to know them, and a lot of times that will develop into them coming on to my platform as a guest speaker, as a guest. And then when they come on as a guest, I get to know them even more, and it opens up more layers. You see what I'm saying? So that conversation can go from, all right, now I'm inviting them into my world a little bit. And now I'm getting to go into their world and hear a little bit more. But now I'm bringing them in to my podcast now and to my platform to share even more about themselves. And my gut at the same time is still going when I have them on. And then okay, I may say, all right, uh, I'd like to do some more with you. I'd like to do something else with you. In the midst of that, in addition to, guys, like to call it ICIs, ideas, concepts, and insight. Ideas, concept, and insights. That's also happening. Creativity is also happening. These ideas, I cannot tell you guys how many times I have gotten ideas from, a conversation that started and then it developed. Then I invited them on as a guest to my podcast. And then the next thing I know, these creative juices are flowing. And then out of those creative juices flowing, an opportunity to come out and ask and present to them and say, hey, I'd like to do a collaboration with you, da 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 da. and going for that ask. So let me back up to those stages to give you, to show you, to pull out those pieces, because now you've gotten that visual. So we're having the conversation. Okay. We're doing that icebreaker. We're doing that icebreaker. We're pressing in even deeper into the conversation by more meaningful conversation. And then you extend an invitation for something. And it doesn't have to be anything big. Maybe, it doesn't have to be anything big, guys, but you extend an invitation to something. Maybe you do, in fact, get their product and services. And there's an exchange where you get a product or service they have, they get a product and service you have, and there's an exchange happening. And then out of that develops, hey, I'd like to work with you on this particular area or in this particular capacity and help you do this or that, because you took those stages of conversation and developed it all the more. And also because you came into it with with good intentions, good motive, that you genuinely wanted to just have conversation, get to know the person, see how you all could help one another. Another thing is looking at strengths. A lot of times we look at weaknesses, but also we need to look at the strength of the individual, because you can add value to that strength. And also with the weaknesses, you can add strength, but we're not highlighting their weaknesses. When we're looking at their weaknesses, it's how can we strengthen that? How can what you have, how can you bring value to their weakness, right? But you're also looking at their strengths and what you can learn from that individual in the midst of conversation. So even before you get to the collaboration, these are things you should be doing, is coming with good intentions, not coming with because I know we can get all caught up in our revenue and making the sale and all that. And sometimes, guys, we need to come in and look at a conversation and look at it and from a perspective of longevity. We always talk about, having a client that's reoccurring. They're always coming back to you for something. You want to have a client that's always coming back. You do such a good job with getting them in, and now you want to continue to give them a good experience so that they will always revisit you. It's that same thing in the conversation and moving into these collaborations and partnerships. We want to come with that experience within the conversation, but not so much from a salesy point of view, but from the point of view that you genuinely want to get to know that person. You genuinely want to see if this is something that could be a long-term relationship. Now, I'm not saying everyone you meet and greet is going to be a long-term, but having these establishments, having these alliances, having these alignments, guys, having these collaborations are such a huge part of it, guys. And sometimes you just need that one that could really change your life or could change a season of your life, guys. You don't know how collaborations can affect you in such a positive way. And so that is why I'm coming to talk about the social intelligence of collaborations and bleeding into partnerships. So looking at just not only the weaknesses, but also the strengths, and you've got to be able to be comfortable in your skin. You've got to be able to be comfortable in your skin, in your lane, in your game, and what you are bringing to the table, because you're not coming, when you are in these conversations, you're not coming to compete. I'm a business consultant and a financial educator. I'm not coming to compete with every business consultant. I'm not coming up. I just know what I bring to the table. I know my lane, and that's what I'm standing on. And not to say that my lane is the best and the shiniest and the best, but I'm saying I know what I'm coming to the table with. Okay. I know what I'm coming to the table with. And so when you're with your collaborations, you're having these conversations, you cannot come with, I'm going to outdo, I'm going to outshine, I got this, mine is better than yours, with this attitude that you come in to compete and da 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 da. No, you defeat the whole purpose that way. And so that is another thing to have in the back of your mind and be thinking about what is the purpose. Now, to be honest with you, sometimes you do not know. Like the collaborations that I have today, when I look back at them, like I said, I was not looking for collaborations, didn't even have that on the brain. I genuinely was coming from the place of let's get to know, let's talk. What do you do? How do you do it? Why did you do that? And with that, as I said, my gut is developing, and then I can see how we're vibing in the midst of that. Now, I'll give you an example, guys. So I've got how many collaborations? I've got one, two. I've got two, and I just finished a collaboration about a couple of weeks ago with one person. But it is a yeah. So okay, so yeah, I have about three collaborations. I had to think about that one, guys, because I'm like, okay, I just did a collaboration with somebody, but that collaboration is still continuing. Wow. So I have a total of three collaborations and partnerships. I'm gonna say yeah, I have three. So three and three collaborations and three partnerships. And going in, that was not, I didn't realize that they were going to be collaborations. Now, altogether so far, I have had five. I have more than five collaborations. I'm looking at partnerships. Sorry, guys. I'm looking at my partnerships that I have right now, and I had a total of five. And what remains as of this day is three. And I'll get into that. So, and there are different with that being said, there's different levels to these collaborations and hence partnerships, but they can just be collaborations and they just build and build and build and build and build and stay in that collaboration lane, or they can build and build and build and go into a partnership, and that partnership build and build and build and build. So different levels to the collaborations and the partnerships. But to give you guys a live example, and the best subject is me, uh, to give you some practical examples of how that looked like is, I mentioned the business platform that I was on that I use to kind of meet people and talk with people and also get my promotions out there, my marketing and advertising with. And there was one gal, and I was just attracted to her because she had a radio station and she also has podcasts. Now, at the time, I had already had a podcast, but what attracted me to her was that in addition to the podcast, she had a radio station. And I have had the opportunity to be on radio. I've had the opportunity to be on radio. So I wanted to talk with her. And I was coming from a standpoint where, I want to learn more. And I really want to go back into radio. I really want to get back on radio. And so I was like, I'm going to talk with this woman and, see what I can learn from her, in regards to radio. And so during that conversation, we were kind of going back and forth, and she sharing what she does, I share what I do, da 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 da. And, she basically pitched me pitched me on her service of coming on her podcast. And one of the statements that she said to me was so profound that it just, like, I tell her to this day, that statement you made just kind of hit me in the chest. And it just so resonated with me that I had to say yes. Because I was not looking to have another podcast, because I already have two podcasts. I was not looking, but in, conversation, guys, and going deeper and establishing meaningful conversation, she was able to say something that really hooked me, really got me. And so I took advantage of her service of being on her podcast platform. And with that being said, with that whole experience, it caused more dialogue with she and I, and talking about more of what she does, because this woman has, I can't tell you, she's got like 4 or 5 businesses. She's got her IT business, she's got a radio, she's got a podcast, she's got events, then she has this pop-up business. So she's got like 5 businesses, guys. So she is multifaceted. Anyways, guys, having more conversation with her, meaningful conversation, I was able to discover that, yeah, she has 5 different businesses and blah, 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 what they were and all of this. and being able to kind of say, okay, what can I bring to the table to her? And what are some of my interests that align with what she does and what she's already doing? And, so one of the things she does is events. And I have always wanted to, I also do public speaking in addition to teaching and consulting and training and all of that. And I have been wanting to get back into public speaking where, I'm doing these, in-person events and virtual events and speaking. And so one of the things she does, like I said, is events. And so I was talking, we're going back and forth about this. And then I finally said to her, I would love, and I started asking her more questions about how she does her events. And guys, did I learn so much because she does a lot of in-person big events, classy big events. And I learned so much. And I was like, okay, I don't want to do it at that scale. This is the scale I want to do. But that whole thing of, doing the public speaking. And with that being said, because we were having additional conversation in these meaningful conversations, listen to the development guys. I then began to say to her, I would love to, you know, come alongside you with one of your events, or whether it's to come alongside you and help you do some of the behind the scenes work to set up that event or to advertise the event. But I would love to come alongside you and learn, how to do events well. Now, I didn't say to her, I want to speak at one of your events. I said, I would love to come alongside you and learn from you, even just to learn from you on how to do these full-blown events. I would love to come alongside and like help, and that was what I mentioned to her. I didn't mention I want to speak. I said, I would love to come alongside you because I want to public, do some events where I speak at, but I'd love to come alongside and learn and help you and da 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 da. And guys, it was months later, but I don't even know how that conversation developed, but it was much later, because she was just, it was still earlier on as early conversations, but later on, much later, she finally came back and said, Valerie, I would like to have you come and speak at an event I'm going to be doing. And it's an event where a business owner event, and I'd like to have you come. And I was like, I would love to. And I was like, and she was like, I'd love to have you come and speak. And I said, I would love to. But at the same time, still, that'll give me an opportunity to still learn how you do your full-blown events. So guys, even though I had that vision to speak, I didn't come out the gate and said to her, I want to speak. And that's where your gut comes in, and knowing, engaging, and knowing this is the time, that's not the time, or we need to have further discussion and get to know one another and da 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 and establish more relationship. And I know one of the things I shared with this individual is when I am speaking with people, I'm looking to see if I can establish long-term relationship. Like if I can establish, yeah, just face value. If I can, if I can establish long-term relationship, because I'm looking at longevity, guys, longevity, and that reoccurring. And sometimes you don't have that, and that's fine. But there are some cases, that's what I'm looking for, is these meaningful, because, it's not, there's a balance between always getting the revenue, because you may not get that revenue up front, but because you've established relationship and it's a long-term relationship, and a camaraderie, you may be able to get this person later on down the line over here with a product or service or an event or something. And so that's what I'm talking about, because we know the numbers, guys, that, you can have people look at your opportunity and it takes them X amount of time to look at your opportunity before they first make that investment with you. And it's the same when we're going about with collaborations and building the relationship to get to that point, to get the collaboration. And so that's what I want you guys to see, and to really listen to the stages of it. And that whole gut, your whole developing that gut is so key, and how you're communicating and what your motive is, and really developing and having the patience to develop that relationship and that meaningful conversation, and um, and seeing where it's going to take you, and being flexible. So to make a long story short, with that particular individual, she invited me to be on her platform. So I got her service. Now, did she get any of my services? Even though I came onto her podcast, I'm on her platform on a regular basis on her podcast. No, she didn't get any of my products and services. And you know what? It's okay, because I value what I developed with her, that, I see a long-standing friend and someone in the industry as well. And so it's okay that she hasn't bought any of my products or services at this moment. You know what I mean? Because I have gotten so much value with my relationship with her, with my business friendship and relationship that I've established with her. And so after she invited me on her podcast, and I'm now on a regular platform on her platform regularly, and her inviting me to be a speaker at one of her events, and to it developed into a partnership now, where it's now I'm helping partnering with her for this event to be successful. And so that's a partnership. And matter of fact, it's a speaking event that we are going to be doing in June. Stay tuned, because I'll be talking more about that as the dates get closer, but it's going to be in June, and it is a business summit. It's going to be called the Rise and Profit Summit, and it's going to be held in June, but I will come with more details as we get closer to the date, because we're still in the planning stages and getting ready to start marketing that this month. So stay tuned for that, stay tuned for that. But that turned into a partnership. And so I'm excited to be doing that with her. And we have talked about further partnerships, and, further partnerships of me being a part of her events for these business collaborations and, business networking type events. And that's what it is. Kind of, it's a business networking event that will have speakers, and there'll be food and all of that, and music, and, light music, and it's going to be outside in June, to enjoy the weather and so forth. So, that partnership, we've talked about furthering it. So that's another example of the conversation, how the conversation developed over time, how, what happened in some of the dynamics in some of those conversations, and what was brought out, and also how that developed into the collaboration and developed into a partnership, and how the partnership is going to another level, because we are talking about, okay, if this is really successful, we need to pursue this and maybe bring it out maybe twice a year, or twice a year. And so that guy gives you a kind of real example of a positive, step-by-step process of the collaboration into partnership, and the level of that partnership. Now, have I had partnerships that did not go well? Yes. And I recently had one as recent as last week, guys. Okay. Because you need to see both sides of the coins, and let's be real, because everything does not always pop up roses. And when you can talk about the negative and be real about it, but still have a good attitude about it, and walk away with something that you learn, that's what we want. That's what we want. And so, yeah, as recently as last week, I was, had a friendship. There was a service that a gentleman had, and I'm not going to get into details, so I'm going to be very vague, but a service that a gentleman had, and he came recommended to me by one of my mentors, as a matter of fact. And I um, got one of his products and services, a couple of them, and participated in with his product and services. And then, the friendship really started to blossom, and there were some things I was doing and showing him and shared with him. And then, as a result of something I shared with him, he proposed a partnership to me. And it was something that we both had to go and think about. And he thought about it about a couple of days later, a week later, and said, let's do it. And we pursued it. And we were in the partnership. I won't even say a month, guys, but the partnership dissolved. And a part of what I learned was there were some red flags out the gate. And when I said red flags, not more or less on his part, but that gut feeling again, guys, and some unease that I had. But I kind of was like, I didn't listen to my gut. There was some things where, I had some concerns with, and one of the concerns was I didn't want to be consumed with this particular partnership. And so that was like my biggest thing. But I didn't listen to that. I moved on, guys, past that. He said, let's do it. I said, okay. And we started doing some exchanges back and forth. And communication was a problem. And at the first couple of times, it was like, okay, we're human. He's busy and got a lot of things on his plate. I'm busy. I got a lot of things on my plate. Some things were just not articulated the best way and so forth. But then some additional things were said, and it just was not jiving and hitting my spirit, hitting my core, hitting that gut, right? And I was starting to just envision some things. And then it was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to have to tell him that I'm going to no longer be able to pursue this partnership. We're going to have to do a cease and desist. And it wasn't ugly. It could have got ugly, but it was like, okay, let's just cut this off. And one of the signs that I saw, the initial sign was, like I said, I had a concern about being consumed by it because I do a lot of other things. And I didn't want this partnership to take up everything. And that was all I was doing. And that was the initial concern I had, but I didn't pay attention to my gut. I just kind of sat on it and then I just kind of relaxed on it. And he came back to me and presented it. And it was like, okay, let's do it. The other red flag that I had was some senses that I had with communication, some things that I was perceiving, but I didn't want to judge, and so I just kind of pushed past it. But then I just kept seeing some things, and he was feeling like he was seeing some things concerning me with communication and da 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 da. Now, I'm not pointing fingers. I'm just being real with you guys to show you, to give you an example of a partnership that did not go well, and some of the red flags, and how that gut came into play, and how communication, the social intelligence, comes into play. But to make a long story short, there was more than one thing. And then the final blow came when I received something from him by email, and it was more or less the tone I was getting. Now, could I have picked up the phone and said, hey, I got this email and I just want to make sure that I'm not reading the tone of it incorrectly? I could have done that. He could have probably done that, but that's not what was done. I responded back, but not in an ugly way. And then after I responded back into the email and I was gracious about it, I still was feeling this ick. Like, you know what I'm saying, guys? I was feeling an ick, and I was like, I'm not feeling good about this. And I could vision myself just like doing some things, but not happy about it. And that was the straw that said, you know what, I'm just going to text him and say, listen, da 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 da. Now, could I also had a conversation and not do the text? Yes. But I felt like, okay, it was a point where, okay, I felt like to text him because I wanted him to know right away. And I felt like I was compromising. And that was one of the main things at that last go round. I felt like I was compromising, guys. I felt like, okay, I was starting to lose myself. Like, I was starting to lose myself. And some of the very things that I stand on, I was not doing. And that was the biggest thing. That was the final straw for me to say, I need to let him know ASAP. And the quickest way for me to do that is I wanted to text him. Now, like I said, could I picked up the phone and maybe done it a little better? Yes, but at that moment, I just wanted to get the word out as quick as possible. And I felt like I need to correct this ASAP. And, I can't compromise who I am and my values and what I felt like I was going, what I would, if I pursued it, what I was going to see and how dissatisfied I would be. And it would cause me to still compromise. You know what I mean? So that was the quickest way I could correct it and get the word out and bring order back from me. And so that was a lesson. That was a lesson. So that gives you guys an idea of the positive and the negative, how it was handled. And like I said, what I learned out of it was, again, what I'm preaching: pay attention to your gut, that initial gut feeling. And if you feel like you are losing your value, yourself, like yourself is getting lost and you're losing your values and what you stand on, don't do it. And if you do it, get out of it ASAP, because you will be miserable. Don't sacrifice yourself. And at the end of the day, there's no dollar, there's no amount of money that can replace you and what you stand for and your value and your integrity. Because at the end of the day, that is what's going to stand, is your integrity. Okay. And that's all I'm going to say. I'm not speaking negative. I just want to use that as share that with you guys to show you some of the dynamics with some fruitful collaborations and with some that had to end. Because let's be real, some of them are not going to be prosperous. Some of them you may get into that first level and then it ends. Some of them you get to that first level and you're going to have to break it because it ain't working. And so, we just have to be realistic and have that at the forefront. But at the root of it is the communication, and in the midst of your communication, your heart, your integrity, your motive, your true motive. What's your motive? Because if you have a clean motive, you can come out of that thing, no matter how it stands. You can come out of that thing and rise from it. Now with that collaboration, I was disappointed, but at the end of the day, and I felt like I needed to regroup. I'm gonna be real with you guys. After that collaboration ended, I felt like I needed to regroup, and I had to take a weekend to regroup. And but I felt like I stood up for myself. At the end of the day, I felt like I stood up for myself and what I believe. And the camel and the stick that broke the camel's back was, I felt like I was compromising on what I believe and who I am. And that was the stick that broke the camel's back. So I don't want to kind of belabor the issue. You guys get that. I think I'm going to come back and do a part two, because there's some other things I want to hit on. I'm looking down and I'm just kind of looking at some notes, because I want you guys to think about certain things, like the level of the collaboration, what some of these levels actually in fact look like, what you need to pay attention to. I shared a little bit about that today, the good and the bad. Some goal settings, and impacts of goal settings, and how everything doesn't need to start with that check. And I touched a little bit upon it today, because it can take the form of you just being able to get up and speak and share another gift that you have. And so, so I want to do a part two and kind of hit on some of those, but I just wanted to kind of give you the basics of that. And again, the topic of today was social intelligence, the collaboration part, and how that turns into partnerships. But at the root of that is communication. So guys, that's going to wrap it up for me. Thank you for joining me. I pray that you did get some value, because really, guys, I'm sharing from the heart. I'm sharing from my journey. I'm sharing from my successes as well as my failures. And I'm not scared to share some of those failures, because it helped make me stronger. It helped make me wiser, and it helped make me to be able to share with somebody so they don't make the same mistake. And if they do make the same mistake, how they can recover quickly from it, because it's all about being able to recover and to recover quickly, and using that to broaden yourself and cause you to increase. And that is a part of what Dimensional Talent Streams does, is shows you how to increase, not only monetarily, but physically and emotionally. A physical increase and emotional increase. Okay, guys. So I'm sharing from the heart today. You could probably call this my soapbox, and maybe I didn't realize, but I felt like, okay, my mentor, we had a discussion on that with a group of us, and I just felt like, hey, my 2021 was about that, and it's still bleeding into 2022. I just had a new recent collaboration. I'm not going to share too much because it's in its early stages. And so I'm not going to share too much, but I just solidified one about 2 weeks ago. And that just kind of happened out of the blue, and it does involve radio. I'm not going to share too much on it, like I said, because it's still developing. But and then let's see, and that's pretty much it, guys. So I pray that you really heard my heart, because I'm really coming to you today from my heart to share. And I pray that you got value, because I always want to leave you with value and with something that you can implement that's practical into your life today. So again, that's going to do it for me. Again, I am Valerie of Dimensional Talent Streams, redirecting you in being fruitful and multiplying. Until next week, guys, take care and bye-bye.